How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On The Ball. Welcome back to another round of Premier League predictions as me and Sim go head-to-head in predicting Premier League outcomes. As you can see on the top hand side of the screen, it's 371 to Sim, 358 to me. It is time to make up those numbers this weekend, and we've got a whole host of Premier League action starting off at St James's Park, where it's Newcastle against Tottenham. Sim's gone for 4-2 to Tottenham.
Goalfest. I just feel like Newcastle at the moment very depleted, especially in the back line and the midfield, missing very key players in those areas. Spurs will look to exploit that. Obviously, our squad is near fully fit at the moment, and I think we could take advantage. Obviously, with Newcastle frontline players, Isaac Gordon in good form, still got Bruno Guimaraes in the middle, so I don't expect Spurs to have it all their own way, but both teams have been struggling with defending in recent weeks, so I do expect a lot of goals either side, and I'm going for Spurs to come out on top 4-2.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-2 in this game. I'm looking at the way both teams are playing, both teams fairly open at the back, particularly Newcastle. I'm looking at Spurs' away struggles as well, only in recent we've beaten Aston Villa 4-0, but apart from that, we've been struggling to get results away from home. And I feel these two teams are going to go blow for blow at the weekend, and both with an exciting game, loads of goals. But I think you're going to see a bit of poor defending on the day. So I couldn't really split the sides. Newcastle as well, they have been surprising a few teams. Even with a depleted squad, they seem to be finding goals at the other end, but it's the other way which they're struggling. So I have gone for 2-2 at St James's Park. We move on to the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford against Sheffield United. I've gone for 2-2 again in this game. This is the weekend of Desmond, and I look at Sheffield United. They are playing for pride for now until the end of the season. Looks like they are all but down. And Brentford, on the other hand, once they go a step in the right direction, they just seem to struggle the next week. And I feel this Sheffield United side will kind of hit Brentford on the break and find a few moments of joy in the game. I do expect Brentford to dominate, but I see Sheffield United taking something from this.
Yeah, I've gone for a Brentford victory. I think Brentford have been playing well in recent weeks and haven't been getting the results their performances deserve. Obviously, a really brilliant fight back last week against Aston Villa, albeit they did succumb to a late Watkins goal. Mbeumo obviously back in the team and back amongst the goals. He's going to be a massive benefit. I think Ivan Toney has been playing well, but actually I don't think he hasn't scored too many goals recently, so I think I want to put that right now. I think they'll see this as an opportunity to finally get that win that will steer them clear of the relegation zone. So I've gone for a 2-0 win for Brentford here.
Yeah, he didn't even play in the last game, Toney, did he? He came on the last 10 minutes, so it's a fresh Ivan Toney coming into this one. But let's go to Turf Moor. It's Burnley against Brighton, and Sim's gone for Brighton to edge it.
Yeah, and I think Burnley actually got a credible draw early in the season away at Brighton, but I just think Burnley know that they need wins now. I mean, they've needed wins for a long time, but with 6 games to go, a point just isn't going to be good enough here. I can see them giving Brighton a really tough game. Brighton obviously struggled last time out at home to Arsenal with 3-0 defeat, but I think a team like Burnley might suit the way Brighton like to play. I expect a lot of possession for Brighton, and I don't think Burnley like to do that defending too much, so I think Brighton might sneak it here 2-1.
Yeah, I've gone for 1-1. I think Burnley have been pretty good of late. They've been getting results, maybe not consistent wins, but they have been getting a few points on the board. Last time out against Everton would have been a kick in the teeth to them, losing 1-0 at Goodison Park in a massive game. But I do feel like these are the kind of games that Brighton slip up in, away from home, against a team lower in the table, and I feel like the points will be shared and it'll be a good point for Burnley, but it just depends on what the other teams do as well, whether we can actually confirm it as a good point or not. But I have gone for 1-1, so I've gone for a few out of their results this week. Let's hope it doesn't work against me. But we go on to Man City against Luton. Both of us gone for massive Man City wins. I've gone for 5-1. Luton always seem to find a goal from somewhere, and I fancy them to do that again against the Man City side, who don't really too often keep a clean sheet, but I feel like Man City are just going to have way too much for this Luton side, especially at the Etihad. So 5-1.
Yeah, big scoreline. Even though Man City are in between, a two-legged tie against Real Madrid, I'm sure there'll be some players rested, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference when they rest players. Man City, they're in brilliant form. Apart from the 0-0 draw against Arsenal, they've battered Villa 4-1. They've battered Palace 4-1. So I expect something very, very similar at home to Luton. I think Luton will really struggle to hurt Man City as well in this one. So I can't see anything about a big scoreline, and it'll really hurt Luton's survival effort. But obviously these aren't the games they're going to be judged on. But at this stage of the season, you need points in every game. So it's going to be a difficult one to take, but I can't say anything about a big scoreline here.
Forest Wolves next at the City Ground. Big game for Forest. Both of us gone for 2-1 here.
Yeah, I think Wolves are running out of steam a bit. Obviously, I think the front line being depleted is really hurting them. Last week against West Ham, dominated for large periods, but couldn't take advantage of it and ended up succumbing to a really bad defeat. Nottingham Forest obviously had a spirited display against Spurs, but ended up losing 3-1 at the end of the day, despite equalising in the first half. And I do look at their front line, and I just think it's two teams playing similar ways, but I think Forest have the front line at the moment capable of exploiting their moments on top, and Wolves don't. So I've gone for 2-1 to Forest.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like Wolves are kind of a bit on the beach at the moment. They've got nothing to play for, really. A lot of injuries as well. I think potentially they could be looking towards their summer breaks and next season already, where Nottingham Forest, it's a massive game for them. If they win, that could really put them in a step forward into safety. So I feel like Nottingham Forest are going to give their all in this game, and I feel like they'll take away 3 points, and a really important 3 points at that, after that points deduction as well. Next up, Bournemouth against Manchester United. Again, we've gone for the exact same scoreline in 2-1. I just look at Man United and I feel like they're just not playing anywhere near the levels that they need to be to fight for that top four. And a Bournemouth side who are on really good form, albeit they did drop points in the last game, but I think that was kind of the exception to the rule. In the last 3-4 weeks, they've really been upping their game and getting points on the board again. And in Manchester United, they've been getting lucky points. I think their luck will run out this weekend.
Yeah, and I think it'll be another game where they're probably second best. They'll concede lots of shots. And I think Bournemouth are in brilliant form, albeit they did lose last time out, really unfortunately. But I do think they'll turn it around here at home to a Man United side who make it easy for the opposition. And I think Bournemouth will enjoy playing in this game. They might not win. I'm backing them to win. Man United, obviously, with the individual quality they have, they can capable of getting a result. But I just think the way Bournemouth play and the form they're in, especially at home, I think they're going to turn over Man United here, so I've also gone 2-1.
Liverpool Crystal Palace at Anfield next. Sim's gone for 2-1.
Yeah, I see a bit of a tight game. Not that I think Palace are going to be in with the game, but I just feel like, obviously, Liverpool had, 29 shots last week in Man United. And I feel like Palace are going to come to frustrate them, and they're going to try and make sure that Liverpool aren't creating the same number of opportunities they have in recent weeks. So I think Olise might be back. Obviously, he came on last game, so they might have him and Eze back for this game, which maybe they'll have some transitional threat against the Liverpool side. Obviously, Liverpool will dominate. I feel that. I just feel maybe Palace might get a goal on the counter, make things a bit difficult, and maybe a last 10 minutes to go, Liverpool find a winner. They do seem to find a way. So I see a bit of a tight game. Obviously, Liverpool dominating. I've only gone for 2-1.
Yeah, I feel like it could be a bit of an angry performance from Liverpool this weekend. That result against Manchester United last week would have really hurt them, with the domination that they did have, the goals that they conceded, and the way the result went in a really important game against Manchester United. I feel they'll come out firing in this game. It might be in the early stages of the game. I think maybe Palace might cause them a few problems and get a goal, but I just feel by the end of it, you're going to talk about a bit of a demolition job at Anfield. So I've gone for 3-1 to Liverpool. We go to the London Stadium next. West Ham against Fulham in a London derby. Both of us gone for 2-1 wins to West Ham. Fulham just ain't the same team at home as they are, away from home as they are at home. Very strong team at Craven Cottage, but away from home against the West Ham side who, yeah, they're playing fairly well at the moment, and I think that West Ham will do the job with the players that they do have on the counter-attack. I mean, their front line is brilliant in terms of individual quality, and I think that's what's going to pull them through in this game.
Yeah, and I see that as well. I think Fulham having a difficult time of it away from home, and again I see there will be times where Fulham are on top, but I see West Ham's front line, albeit they do have a midweek game against Leverkusen, so don't know if they're going to be resting players or not in that game, and I don't know what kind of form they're going to be coming into this game, but I just see them sneaking it at the London Stadium in a tight game. I just think their quality up front will make the difference, and especially if they're not going to rest their front four in Paquetá, Bowen and Kudus and Antonio, I think they should have enough just to get the job done here, so I've gone for 2-1.
Next up, we go to the Emirates, and it's Arsenal against Villa, a big game in terms of the top four and the title race. Sim has gone for 2-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Unai Emery would love nothing more but to try and spoil Arsenal's party. Obviously, they're desperate for points in the battle for top four, so I see this being a really entertaining and difficult game for both sides. Obviously, Ollie Watkins came back sooner than expected last week and did get a brace, and he's going to be massive in this game if Aston Villa are to hurt Arsenal. I think both teams are probably going to have very taxing midweek games. Obviously, we saw Arsenal struggle against Bayern Munich at home, and whether half an eye for them will be on the second leg, we'll have to wait and see. Villa will have a Europa Conference League game against Lille in midweek as well, and we know how Unai Emery likes to prioritise those competitions, so I'm sure he's going to play a strong side. So I see both teams struggling a bit for legs. Obviously, Arsenal will have that bit more rest. I do see a difficult game for both teams. I do see both teams giving each other a lot of trouble, but I think Arsenal will sneak it here 2-1.
Yeah, I just feel like Arsenal have more options in terms of their squad selection. You know, they can bring in a Trossard, they can bring in, I know Gabriel Jesus as well didn't start in the Bayern Munich game. So I think that they've got options that they can start in this game that don't decrease the quality too much. And I feel like without Douglas Luiz, Aston Villa are going to massively struggle in this game, particularly with the European schedules as well, with Thursday night football. And I feel like this, by the end of it, you're going to talk about a convincing Arsenal win. But again, I see maybe for the first 45 minutes, them going a bit blow for blow. Maybe it'll go at half-time 1-0 to Arsenal, and then Arsenal will assert their dominance in that second half. So unfortunately, I've gone for 3-0 to Arsenal in this game, and quite a convincing win, I think it will be. Next up, and last but not least, is Chelsea against Everton on Monday night. Both of us gone for draws. I've gone for 1-1. I'm looking at... Everton got a really good result last week against Burnley. Chelsea, I don't know how to assess this Chelsea team anymore because they come back against Manchester United. Look, let's be honest, it was quite lucky. So maybe I do know how to assess this Chelsea team, which is quite poor because they drew 2-2 against Burnley. They drew against Sheffield United 2-2 as well. I just feel like with this Everton, the way that they're going to set up at Stamford Bridge, I just feel like it's going to go one less each, so 1-1.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-2 here. I see a bit of an open game. Obviously, Everton, they're not playing that well in the moment. They've got a really big morale-boosting victory against Burnley last time out, and maybe that'll give them confidence going to this game. Chelsea are really struggling to control games at the moment, albeit they are on a 6-game unbeaten run, but they're not impressing too much in the results phase of those games. And pardon the pun, they can't defend for toffee, which I think they showed against Sheffield United. So I've gone for an open game. I'm predicting maybe Chelsea will take the lead, but I think with how Everton play with their set pieces and occasionally they can press high, I can see them catching Chelsea out, so I've gone for 2-2 here.
And last but not least, the star men. Once we pick that man, we can't pick them again for the rest of the season. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist, and Sim is facing the dreaded Pep Roulette with Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, he didn't play midweek. He played no minutes. Did play against Palace 90 minutes and got 2 goals and an assist. So it looks like at the moment he's favouring him in the Premier League. So I'm going to bank on De Bruyne playing in this one. And if he does start, I can see him getting a lot of goal contributions. So I've played my De Bruyne card.
He actually was in the starting lineup yesterday, and they pulled him out last minute because he was throwing up in the dressing room. That's why he didn't play yesterday. But I've gone for Chris Wood, a man on fire at the moment at home against Wolves, who a team I said are on the beach. I think Chris Wood can do something this weekend for Nottingham Forest. So I've gone for Chris Wood. Sim's gone for Kevin De Bruyne. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on this week's Premier League action. What are your predictions? Who's your star man? And we'll see you all soon. Like, subscribe and comment. We'll see you next time.